We already shared very common cultures. If you think about, we only hire local employees, we give back to the community, we value member and customer experience. And so culturally, there was already a great alignment. And when you think about it, Middle Tennessee Electric already had the poles and the conduit systems. United had the expertise and technical support, fiber customer service, and deploying those fiber networks. And so it was really one of those cases, really, that the stars were aligned and we could bring the best of what both organizations had and do it a lot better together.
Hi, I'm Amy Byers, and welcome to Middle Tennessee Electric's Plugged In podcast, where we bring good energy to every conversation. Today, we are going to be talking about MTE's Internet division, United Communications. United Communications is a nationally recognized broadband company with a fiber network spanning more than 6,100 miles. United provides high-speed internet and phone services across portions of Bedford, Davidson, Franklin, Giles, Lincoln, Marshall, Murray, Moore, Rutherford, Williamson, and Wilson counties. So that's a lot of counties, but for our MTE members, that's going to be, Williamson, Wilson, and Rutherford for our members, but then we're out there beyond that as well. I'm also joined today by my very favorite co-host, Brandon Wagoner. I know you've missed a few podcasts, so I'm always excited when you come back to join us. And I'm going to let you introduce our guest today.
Well, thank you, Amy. I'm really excited to be here on this podcast, too, because I've had a chance to work with both of these individuals quite a bit over the years. So one of our guests is United CEO William Bradford. And then, of course, Stephanie Manny, Member Service Specialist, takes care of a lot of our members when they're calling in. And I just got to brag on Stephanie for a moment. Top salesperson in our group. We'll talk about what that means later, but by a country mile. So she's just fantastic, and we're always learning from her. So
Well, great. Well, I think we're starting off with William first.
Yeah,
with some questions.
William, just take a moment. Our members may not exactly understand the United MTE relationship, so if you will, introduce yourself a little bit, and then also a little bit about that relationship.
Great, Brandon. As you can imagine, it's a great story to tell because it's about two local companies that have come together to meet a huge need in our communities. And so to your question, I'll back up a little bit. United was actually founded by farmers and local citizens in Middle Tennessee to serve unserved rural areas back when the big bell companies like AT&T wouldn't go into rural areas. So we're celebrating like you all. You just hit your 90th anniversary. A couple years ago, we hit our 75th. So like you, we're a company that's rooted in these communities. So I haven't been there the whole time, but we've been around a long time, and we're proud of these local roots. Our history together goes back to 2018 when Middle Tennessee Electric knew that there was a need from their members to have more reliable, faster internet and do it differently than those big public internet companies do it, with actually real good local customer service. And so we came together. We were already serving parts of Middle Tennessee. You guys already served a huge part of Middle Tennessee with almost 350,000 members served in those counties that you mentioned. And so Chris Jones and I had a couple lunches, and we decided, hey, this makes a lot of sense to come together, expand what United was already doing, bring the resources of Middle Tennessee Electric. We were a much smaller internet provider at the time, and combine those resources and work together to see all of Middle Tennessee Electric's members get served. And that's really where it started. Now, y'all have a big territory. You serve a lot of members. Where did we start? We started by bringing service to the unserved members. We identified a little over 50,000 homes and businesses in Middle Tennessee that had no access to internet whatsoever. So we started Project Unite 2018 to see every single unserved Middle Tennessee Electric member get access to service.
And where did you find the most of those? What area was that?
I call it the four corners of the county. If you look at all our counties, the four corners of Wilson County, the four corners of Rutherford County. So that's why we have 6,100 miles, is we had to build that network out to the edges.
Right.
These people were spread out all throughout the county. So that's why it was so difficult, and it took us 7 years really to do it. It was thousands of miles of infrastructure and $250 million of investment to get to the four corners of the counties. And so we just celebrated a huge milestone, over 50,000 unserved homes and businesses connected. and Ms. Stephanie here, as we hear from members all the time, the stories of people that couldn't, had to work 3 jobs because they wouldn't qualify for that really good work from home job because they didn't have the internet where they could stay connected and do that job. People that, were driving into town to upload files or doing homework at McDonald's. And so we've come a long way and really, bringing good energy to the communities we serve and making life easier.
I think one thing we found out during COVID was how important having that internet was at home when people were doing all the homeschooling. I think that really shined a big light on the problem that there's so many out there. Still, those of us sitting in Murfreesboro and probably Franklin and, the big cities, we take it for granted. We've got several companies fighting for our business. But those, that, like you said, on the fringes where they're not out there, when you do need it, we rely on it so much.
It is amazing. We just went to the Williamson County Commission meeting a couple weeks ago and celebrated with the county commissioners, Mayor Anderson. There were still 4,000 homes in Williamson County just a year and a half ago that didn't have access to any internet. And we partnered with the county commission, with the local leaders, with the state of Tennessee to bring service to all of those. And the same things happened across the entire footprint. Mayor Hutto in Wilson County, it was really important to him to see his constituents get service, and we partnered with Wilson County to bring service. Mayor Carr in Rutherford County, the same thing. Great stories of local partnerships, and you wouldn't know it, right? And you take it for granted sometimes if you live right here, a few miles from our central office here in Murfreesboro, that everybody has access, but they didn't. And that's a great segue, Amy. You asked, we don't really measure ourselves in miles, honestly. It's an important stat because it represents the hard work our teams have done. But we've brought service to 125,000 homes and businesses in Middle Tennessee so far. So 50,000 of those never had access. But what we found is all of our members said, hey, I've heard how good your service is. We want it right here in Murfreesboro. We want it in Franklin. We want it in Lebanon. And so as we wrap up all these projects in the 4 corners of the county, we're so excited to bring service to all of our members now. And so over the next 5 years, we want to see every member get access to more reliable internet and better customer service. And so that is our mission now, is bringing that same good energy to everybody.
Well, when we first made this decision, the law allowed us to be able to serve that service alongside electricity. And I remember being in some meetings and realizing how monumental it was going to be. And then when I found out about you and your background, I thought, man, this makes such sense, because you had some time in North Carolina where you actually were able to expand and scale very quickly. Can you share a little bit? Because when I heard that, I thought, well, yeah, this is the exact person we need leading this effort, because we were in a weird spot and still are in a lot of ways. We have a service that people want faster than we can really get them what they want. So just share a little bit about that background.
I was blessed, Brandon, that I worked for a company, as you mentioned, headquartered in Charlotte. And by the way, I grew up in Chattanooga, so when I moved here in 2011, it was coming home to me. I love Tennessee. But before that, I worked for a company that we served 32 rural markets in 18 states. So even though we were headquartered in Charlotte and I lived there, our operations were throughout the country, and we had really had a mission to get out into these rural areas and bring fiber broadband. So I came here with a little bit of a head start. Nobody was really doing it in Tennessee yet, bringing service to those rural areas. And so when I came here in 2011, we really, wanted to take what we learned doing that, for the previous 15 years and bring it here and see the same kind of areas get service, bring great customer service and bring the kinds of internet you would expect if you lived in downtown Nashville to everywhere. And it's been a huge, huge success.
So you mentioned when you were talking about how United was founded by farmers, and that's how MTE was founded. So it's kind of great we found each other because we're so like-minded. But it's been about 8 years now. We're coming on our 8-year anniversary as having y'all as part of the MTE team. So tell me a little bit about how it started and why it made sense to do this. Of course, I guess we know why it made sense for us because our members were asking for it, and we want to be of service to our members and make what do we say, make life better for our members, and certainly internet can do that. But on the United front, why was this a good plan for you?
Yeah, if you look across the country, I mean, I think there's a lot of ways to get in the internet business, but in my opinion, and I think your leadership team agreed, the best way is to sort of leverage and use partnerships. And so, since United already had a little bit of a head start, we'd started expanding fiber in 2011 in Middle Tennessee. We could leverage that platform we had already built, and so most of our discussions were, how do we do it faster, not where do we start? So I think we brought this valuable sort of head start to our business model. And like you noted, we already shared very common cultures. If you think about, we only hire local employees, we give back to the community, we value member and customer experience. And so culturally, there was already a great alignment. And when you think about it, Middle Tennessee Electric already had the poles and the conduit systems. United had the expertise and technical support, fiber customer service, and deploying those fiber networks. And so it was really one of those cases, really, that the stars were aligned and we could bring the best of what both organizations had and do it a lot better together.
So comparing how we started to kind of where we are now, certainly I think both of us have grown quite a bit in the last 8 years, member-wise, and just the influx of people into Middle Tennessee and everything. But, how has United changed? How have you grown? How many more employees, your service territory, and any other ways that maybe things have changed over the eight years?
It's amazing. I mean, we're installing every day 60 or 70 new members are making the switch to our internet program. So if you think about it, 15 years ago, that was a good month for us. And now every day we're doing what we did in a month. And so I think that highlights what's changing. So our teams have grown, as you can imagine. And I love the story. I mean, we're the only internet provider in Tennessee where every single job is located right here in Tennessee. If you think about from our sales teams, our customer service, our technical support, the installers that come to your house, the CEO, the CFO, the entire organization lives in the communities we serve. And we just had our new employee every month. We have a new employee onboarding, and I just came from that meeting. And I was just telling the story. I was out yesterday. I talked to a lady that's a customer, and she was telling me the story of when she had to call in, and she was like, I love Zoe. She helped me out. She made it easy getting service. And I love it that our customers know us by name. And then they call me and tell me. And so I told the new employees, I look forward to getting calls from customers about you all, because our customers know our employees' names. But specifically, we had 40 something employees when we started this partnership, and we're around 250 employees now, all locally. And so if you think about that, it's a great economic development story too. Everything we're doing is going right back into creating jobs in the community, creating investment in the community, and having our neighbors serve each other.
So I've had a chance to have a little bit of a front row seat to see how you're growing, and you won best workplace in the Middle Tennessee area. You've been very successful in winning grants that you put into developing those rural communities. I've seen just your world. We're using the word world class a lot. I got that from you all at United, because you all have a Net Promoter Score consistently among world class brands. So I've seen all of that. So my question to you now is, what's next for United?
We were just having that conversation today. We don't, we look in the mirror and we never say mission accomplished, right? And I love that about our organization. We always set the bar high and think there's more we can do. So just this week, we hit a record of a weekly Net Promoter Score, which is basically our customer satisfaction score. And we achieved a 90 for a weekly. And just, for our viewers that don't know what Net Promoter Score is, that is a scale of minus 100 to 100. Most of the national internet providers rank somewhere in the minus 50 to 0, and a 0 is considered good. I know most of y'all, if you've had to experience other internet providers, 0, they would be happy to get a 0 on their scores, and that means roughly half their customers don't like them and roughly half do. We're at a 90, so it still means we're not perfect, And so our team, there's no low-hanging fruit. They look at every single order, what we did well, what we didn't do well, and how can we improve as an organization. And right now they're really focused on these small little things, because that's what it takes to move the needle, from a 90 to 100. And so we don't even benchmark ourselves against other internet providers anymore, because it's meaningless. We benchmark ourselves against the great brands of the world, like Ritz-Carltons and Disney's, that have, comparable scores. And what can we do to make it your interactions with us very personal, and we make it easy.
Yeah. So now I kind of want to turn our attention to Stephanie. But before we get to Stephanie, I want to point out that, Stephanie's a member support specialist. So if you're calling in to check on a bill, if you're calling in to apply or disconnect service, this is the person you're going to talk to. And many of our member support specialists have been here for years. They've been hired in to support Middle Tennessee Electric customers with electricity needs. They're not selling anything.
Right.
Because we're the only provider of electricity here, so we're not in competition with anybody. So we're not selling anything. So this has never been a sales job until recently. And so I want to point that out first, to give a big shout out to all of our member support specialists that had to step out of their comfort zone, because I'm going to tell you, it's hard to ask. I mean, one of my least favorite things to do, and a lot of the things I have to do, sometimes, I have to ask people if I've been involved with different events and having sponsorships and stuff, and I'm like, I am not the person you want to go ask someone to be a sponsor. Like, I don't want to ask anybody for money. That's just, it's hard. You have natural salesmen, and you have people that say, that is not my gift. But all of our member support specialist had to step up and go, okay, this is not something I'm comfortable with, but I'm willing to learn and to figure that out. And before we even get into talking to Stephanie, who has excelled at this, by the way, I want to give a shout out to all the member support specialists out there that have stepped out of their comfort zone and have taken on this role of selling internet when our members come in.
Yeah, and one of the things we've had to wrestle with is that it is a sale for sure, because someone can say no, but a lot of times our members want to know about it too. And I want to say a shout out to it can be, because and so sometimes we'll get phone calls where they're specifically asking, I want to sign up for United, and I want to say a shout out to United as well, because they've realized that that's a cultural shift. And so they've given us some promotional things that we can use that make it easy for our member services to introduce the conversation. And then also our members can kind of try it, and there's no contracts and that sort of thing. So I know they appreciate that. So,
So Stephanie, before we start talking about selling internet, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been at MTE, and just a little bit about yourself?
So I've been with MTE for 11 years now. I'm a member support specialist. I reside in Lebanon with my husband and 3 children. I'm very passionate about member services. I love people, so I love member services. I'm very passionate. A lot of our members know me from, not just answering the phone, but also in the Lebanon office. At one time I was there. So, many members that know me from there that, we've built many relationships there. But yes, I love what I do.
Yeah, and you're out and about a lot. I know I've seen you working the electric griddle and a lot of events. So you get out from behind the desk to get out there and greet and meet our members. So while we are, this year, you mentioned it a minute ago about the world-class member experience. And while we're really focusing on that this year, and like I said, that doesn't come naturally to a lot of people, but for you, you're a people person, and it seems to be in your wheelhouse. So can you share a little bit about what drives you to serve at such a high level?
Well, Amy, I love to talk. I love to talk. I love to laugh. My family, we don't meet a stranger, rarely. But I love engaging with people. Anyone, or, I love to be able to engage and also help others. Like, I truly just enjoy helping you. If I can help you in any way, You know, I don't see it as my job, but as me as a person, it's just the heart that I have for others. It's truly what I hold.
Yeah, and I've known Stephanie for a long time because actually
Yeah.
our sons played flag football together, so I've had a chance. I know your husband and your boys,
Yeah.
and such a sweet family. And when she says that she loves to serve, it's so authentic, you know. And some people will say it. She really lives it. And I think sometimes when I try to think about what can we do that's world class, how do we bring that? It's really about authenticity. And I have only heard a few of your phone calls, but I have heard some, and I feel like a lot of it is Stephanie's just being herself and building a relationship with folks, and so makes her just naturally gifted at a lot of this. So
Yeah. And I do feel, you know, with empathy. So, you know, member services, when you do speak with someone on the phone, even if it's a 2-minute conversation, you know, and maybe they may be checking their bill at that time, you know, you never know the impact in which you have toward others. So that could be a hard day for someone that they may be having. And by you just being able to talk to them and just offer a word of just kindness or even sometimes just prayer, you know, I hope that your day gets better. It truly says a lot, and really, I feel like it's felt in a big way for someone.
So this year, speaking of sales specifically, we've just recently, in the past few years, been able to link our systems together so that when someone calls in and says, I'm moving into this home or this residence, we have an alert that says this person has the ability to take United service. Because not every home has it yet, but that'll let us know. And then we can save them a phone call and say, I'll go ahead and sign you up for internet if you like. And Stephanie has 65 sales just this year alone, which is, like I said a while ago, is leading a team. And we have some really great other teammates that are doing fantastic as well. But she is, and that 65 number is a few days old, so it's actually more than that. So, but just wanted to ask, you know, when you have those conversations, it's hard. As Amy said, you're putting yourself out there. You can face rejection. You can face a no. How do you approach those?
So, first off, you know, being able to serve our members and being able to serve that many members with not just electricity, but also with our fiber internet is truly a blessing. I really feel it is a blessing, but I don't see it as a sale. You know, Brandon, I see it as I'm promoting something that truly is a great service. I'm allowing some people that really are not even aware it's at their home, that it allows them to have a service that, you know, helps, as William said, you know, their work life, you know, your livelihood, your kids in school. They still carry their Chromebooks. So, you know, so that helps. But also then for entertainment too. So it allows you to be able to help in such a big way. And especially for some of our members that don't have any other source of that service. So it truly is great to be able to offer that and to know that you're able to offer them something that's great, something that is that you want in your own home yourself. So I think that does help whenever you are helping someone with that.
Well, and I've been a United customer now for a few years, so I'm with you. I love it. It
Yes.
works well, and when I'm working from home doing Zoom calls or whatever I need to do, it's always nice and reliable. So,
And I think if I could jump in here, Brandon, the Stephanie hit sort of how we approached it from for 90 years around here, right? We live in these communities, right? She's on the football field. My son plays baseball. I'm on the baseball field all the time. I'm in the grocery store. I can't leave the grocery store without talking to 2 or 3 customers. And we want something all of our teammates are proud of. And that's how we approached it, right? We're in our communities every day and we want something we're proud of. And I think, interestingly, after the ice storms this winter, we saw so many members call and say, how do I get United internet? We saw how good MTE did keeping the lights on and restoring services through an epic storm, we haven't seen. And we had the exact same thing at United, right? We had 0 network outages during that entire storm because our redundancy systems worked. And we followed right behind the electric crews restoring internet for those individual service lines. that were down. And so I think when you think about, it's not just whether you have access or not, it's how reliable is it and how does the company respond? We're going to have tornadoes, we're going to have ice, we're going to have weird things that happen around here. And are we there to get you up and running faster than anybody else possibly could? And that's something, when we're back on the fields a week later, we're proud to talk about, right? We don't have to go hide. We stand by, our teammates and the response they had every day. It's not just during storms. I mean, it literally is every day.
And from
True.
meetings I had with other local co-ops that have had relationships with providers, boy, we were so fortunate to have United because it's just, we're just all pulling in the same direction. And it's very, makes it a joy to have that. And Stephanie, I want to ask you, you talk to our members a lot.
Yeah.
What would you like our members to know? I mean, it could be about United, it could be about whatever. What would you like to share with them from your perspective, things that you hear that you think they would want to know?
Well, I mean, like William has said, we are in your communities. We live, around, people calling in are our neighbors, at our school, our children's schools, just all through in our community. So we are serving you because you are a friend to us, you are family to us, and we want to be able to help you and to know that you can trust us because we genuinely care about you and your family.
Mm-hmm. I'll turn it over to you, Amy, but I just want to say how much I appreciate both your servant hearts, servant leadership, the influences you both are to your organizations, your teams, and to me personally. So
Yeah, and I agree with Brandon. Y'all both are doing great works in your respective places and really working for our members. And this is the year we're bringing world-class member service, and you both are helping us do that. So thank you both for being here today, and thanks to everybody out there listening. If you need more information on United Communications or to see if they are servicing your area, you can go to mte.com/internet or united.net. To talk to one of our member support specialists, like Stephanie, you can call 1-877-777-9020. For more information on MTE, visit mte.com. And if you have any questions or if there is a topic you'd like to see us cover on the podcast, please email us at communications@mte.com. And until next time, stay connected, take care, and keep bringing good energy.